Good morning, everybody. I hope you're having a good day and you're excited to get into rhetoric. Rhetoric is something that we use every day, whether you know it or not, which I'm sure but by this time you guys know that rhetoric is the art of persuasion. Um, and that we persuade people to do things every day. And whether that's asking your mom if you can go out to a party, which that's probably not happening right now while we're social distancing, or even being able to go take the car for a drive for an hour or so. So you're always using rhetoric in one way or another. So for this assignment, you're going to be taking notes over um, this particular Prezi. I'm going to open it up real fast and just do a quick overview of what Jolliffe's framework really is, because you should have gone over this as a sophomore and you get into it as a junior as well. But it's always good to have a refresher before we get into an essay, because you will be doing a essay on the frame or on speech, doing a rhetorical critique. So Jolliffe's framework is broken up into three parts. You have the rhetorical situation, which is the exigence or the problem or what prompts the speaker or writer to speak or write about um, whatever topic they're choosing. The audience, who is their focused audience, like who are they targeting? And it's not just the listeners, it's not just the readers, it's usually a very specific group. And then their purpose, what is their ultimate goal? So that's your rhetorical situation, which is what we're going to be focusing on with this lesson a little bit later on. But anyway, it goes through, I'll let you go through that, and you're going to be taking 2-column notes over this Prezi. So you're going to want to know what ethos, pathos, and logos mean. Ethos is obviously credibility, logos is logic, and pathos is emotion. These are thinking words. These are what you think about when you're reading a speech or listening to a speech. They are not writing words. So when you're writing your rhetorical critique, you are going to not say President Bush uses ethos when he considers us all Americans, and he lumps himself into that group. No, you're going to make me mad. So do not write ethos, do not write logos, do not write pathos. You're going to write President Bush endears himself to the audience and makes himself sound credible because he considers himself an American who's experiencing the same travesty, and so he can empathize and believes that he's one of us, so that makes us a little bit more like we want to believe him. You're going to put it in better words, but essentially that's what you're going to do. Same with logos. He's using a rhetorical, he's using a logical argument. And pathos, you're going to say the specific emotion. Make sure you're saying he uses fear, he uses patriotism, he uses some kind of specific emotion, okay? So make sure you are using very specific language when you do your rhetorical critique, okay? I see a lot of, like, my sophomore writers who are a little less experienced than you guys. They use ethos, pathos, logos, and even then I'm encouraging them to use more specific language in their writing. So, and then the bottom part, if we scroll through here quickly, is your surface features. So your organization, your structure, your form. So that is your diction, syntax, imagery, and figurative language. Diction is word choice. So you'll see that on your rubrics a lot last semester, like your word choice. Speakers use words very specifically. Like they are using words strategically throughout their speaking because they want to elicit a certain reaction. Okay, they're not speaking just to be speaking, they're speaking for their purpose, if we remember from our rhetorical situation. Sorry if you can hear that, my dogs are playing outside. And then syntax is sentence structure and grammar. So repetition, parallel structure, those are the things that you would lump into syntax. And especially if we think about Martin Luther King Jr. and his I Have a Dream speech, he repeats a lot of phrases purposefully to elicit an emotion or elicit some kind of reaction from his audience. Imagery, you guys probably know. Figurative language, you guys know. So that's basically a quick overview of Jolf's framework. You're going to take notes on that framework, okay? So if we go back to here, then here's Aristotle's, I wonder if I can move me. Yes, I'm going to move me real fast. Okay, this is Aristotle's rhetorical triangle. Basically, each one of your appeals is designed to be associated with either the audience, the message, or the speaker. So obviously, your audience has to buy into what you're saying. And so, how do you get people to buy in? You hit them right in the feelers. Okay? So, a lot of times, speakers and writers, they use emotional words and emotional phrases and emotional structures to get their audience to believe in what they're saying. So, that brings us up to the speaker and ethos. If your speaker is not believable, then why are we listening to them? Why would we listen to you? What are you going to do that's going to make us think that you are believable? And a lot of times, you have to integrate both the emotion to capture the audience's attention, and then you have to bring in facts, statistics, knowledge, personal anecdotes that make you a expert in that field. Okay, so for instance, if I were to tell you that x plus y divided by the square root of 12, I don't even know if 12 has square root, you'd be like, Miss Hespin, you are not a math teacher. What are you doing? You wouldn't believe me about that particular equation because I have no idea x and y, numbers and letters. Only time numbers and letters come together when we're talking Roman numerals. So, anyway, I am not a credible speaker on math. Now, if I were going to talk to you about something like literary theory, like right now I'm getting into Romanticism in my master's course, which I have a lot of background in Romanticism. It's probably one of my favorite literary eras. And if I went into detail about how the Romantics brought about rebellion and they learned about rebellion and then they integrated individualism into this post-neoclassicism era and how they celebrated individualism and moved away from this communal oppression of the matriarchy, not the matriarchy, the can't even think of it. Anyway, the ruling class. Then you'd be like, oh yeah, you know what you're talking about, right? Sorry, went on a tangent. But so that's how you create credibility within the audience. And then obviously, your message must be logical. If we don't make that logical leap with you as an audience, then you will not achieve your purpose. Okay, so Aristotle's rhetorical triangle is very important to know. I would take some notes on that as well. And not move. Oh, maybe I have to move me back. All right. So, but for this lesson, we're going to focus mostly on exigence, audience, and purpose. Okay, there's a little video here you can watch about that. I'm going to talk about an example for me in a rhetorical situation. So, this is my cute little puppy bear, and it took some persuasion on my part to get my husband to be okay with having 3 dogs instead of 2. So, first of all, I have this puppy. Well, I don't have it yet. It's in my arms, so. And I need to convince Nate that I need to have this puppy. And so I know who my audience is. My audience is obviously my husband. My exigence is he doesn't want 3 dogs. And so I have to convince him that we need 3 dogs. And then my purpose is to ultimately get the dog, right? So that is my rhetorical situation. So I'm going to employ ethos, pathos, and logos to achieve my purpose. Okay, so I first of all have to get him right in the feelers. So I bring this little fat puppy over and I set it right down in his lap. And I'm like, you just need to, he'll keep you warm. It's a cold day. Just marinate on it. And then I go and make my barrel run and I come back and he's loving on the puppy. And I'm like, oh, I got him. He's hooked now. And so then I give him the logical argument. I'm like, well, we can use him to work cows, and then we'll have 3 dogs that will be helping us to work cows instead of 2, and so that means we'll be more efficient. My logical argument. And then my credibility was basically I'm his wife, and it will make me happy, and I'm a credible witness to what will make him happy as well. So in the end, he ended up letting me get the dog, and it was quite the process, but we got him. So that is my story with the rhetorical situation and employing ethos, pathos, and logos. So what you guys are going to do after you've done your notes, you're going to play around with some of these political memes. So you're going to basically identify the exigence, the audience, and the purpose. Okay? Read the memes, see what you think. Then this is a political cartoon. You can do the same thing. And think a little bit beyond just the surface on this one. There's a lot of things going on in politics right now, especially regarding agriculture, that the flood could represent. I would think of the flood as a metaphor, okay? Not a literal flood that, we got all this rain and now we can't, you know, do what we need to do around the farm or the ranch. Okay, I want you to think of the flood as a metaphor. And then I want you at the bottom of your notes to write down what you think each one of these are. So that's what we're doing for this. You'll also be doing a Flipgrid video developing your own rhetorical situation. So obviously we're not doing the 10-minute timer or breaking into groups, but you will be doing your own and you're going to submit that on Flipgrid. I'll put a prompt on there with the link to Flipgrid, and then you'll be able to finish up that assignment. So this will be good practice for when we start looking at your rhetorical critique. So I would be thinking of some speeches that you're going to want to do. I'm going to make Bush's 9/11 off limits and Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech off limits because we use that in other classes. So I want you to find a speech or a TED Talk that you think is powerful and that it'll be a little bit easier for you to do a rhetorical critique on. So we'll be doing more with rhetorical critique before we get to the essay. The essay is going to be due the end of the second week before you guys graduate. So that will be the 11th. So your rhetorical critique will be due the 11th of May. And then I'll have those graded before you graduate. So anyway, any questions, please feel free to call me, email me, let me know if you have any issues. So you guys have a good day.